Archives of Prasar Bharati presents the timeless treasure of golden era.
Hello and welcome to Living on the Edge. Over the last 4 weeks, we've tried to create a program that succeeds in increasing environmental awareness, highlights successful conservation efforts, and explains new paths to development that are both enriching and sustainable. This week, Living on the Edge profiles Sukhomajri village in the Shivalik hills for its unique experiment in environmental rejuvenation. But there's much more. We report on the conservation of birds in an industrial estate in Madras, investigate the innumerable applications of Neem, and see how environmental education has acquired a new dimension in the southern United States. To set the ball rolling, we have the incredible tale of Sukhomajri in the Shivaliks, which was once an impoverished village set amidst denuded hills. Today, kacha homes have been replaced by cement structures, the number of buffaloes have increased considerably, and all the children go to school. At the heart of the Sukhomajri success story is the joint management of resources between the village and the administration and an efficient watershed program. Priya Somaya analyzes a unique experiment that could well become a model for other villages.
At first glance, Sukhomajri seems like any other North Indian village, but it's actually a remarkable example of a village transformed by the efforts of the inhabitants themselves. Today, 2 out of every 5 houses has a television set, and every other family owns a scooter or a motorcycle. And that's not all. Concrete constructions have replaced kacha houses, and annual incomes per family have crossed 5 digits. Prosperity is almost tangible here. "20 years ago, the villagers struggled to eke out their existence, wholly dependent on erratic rainfall to cultivate their fields. Primarily Gujjar, they got a meager additional income from the sale of milk of their goats and sheep.
पहले ज़माने में ये हमारी बिल्कुल टिब्बे जो के हैं थे ये खराब थे, इनके बीच कुछ नहीं था, का भी नहीं था और कोई दरख्त नहीं था."
And because they depended on the forest for fodder and firewood, the neighboring hills were soon denuded. This in turn increased soil erosion to such an unprecedented degree that the Sukhna lake, 20 kilometers, silted up.
Somewhere in 1976, there was a problem of sedimentation in this Sukhna lake. So we were trying to find out the reasons and the causes of that heavy silt coming in that. So we detected that these hillocks, during the rains, they are just breaking down and they are flowing, mud is flowing in the lake.
As a result, the Central Soil and Water Conservation Institute stepped in and built a number of embankments near Sukhomajri to check erosion, while simultaneously preventing villagers from grazing their cattle in the area. That was all very well, except for the fact that the villagers already struggling to feed their families were suddenly cut off from their source of food, fodder and firewood. They took to the only form of protest they knew.
हमें पहले चोरी करते थे, मैं आपने बताता हूँ, जंगल में चोरी करनी, कोई लकड़ी काट लेनी, घास चोरियाँ करना और बकरियाँ छोड़ देनी, गौवा छोड़ देनी, ते हमारे को फिर कुछ नहीं मिलता। इन्होंने कहा भाई भैया तुमने इनको रोको, मैं कहा जी हमारा गुजारा ही नहीं पड़ा।
फिर उसने कहा कुछ मेरा कहना मानो कि ये जो सुखना लेक झील है हमारी ये खराब हो रही है, इसको बचाओ। मैं कहा साहब आपको सुखना लेक झील दिखती है, सुखना लेक झील तब बादशाह की है, अगर ख़राब हो जाएगी फिर बन जाएगी, हम आप भूखे मर हैं, हमारे लिए कुछ सोच।
Faced with an intransigent local population, officials effected a compromise. In return for protecting the forests, the villagers would get a share of the natural produce and water for irrigation.
We involved the people that they would not interfere in the forests. They will not take their cattle to the catchment for grazing. Of course, we will provide them the fodder grass which was in abundance available in the catchment because of the closure and all that. That fodder was brought by them. They started stall feeding. Slowly they changed from goat and sheep etc. to the buffaloes.
Not only did this mean that further damage to the forest would not occur, but it also implied that the forest could actually rejuvenate. And this is what happened. From 13 trees per hectare in 1976, the number of trees increased to over 1,000 in 1992. From 50%, the water runoff decreased to just 3%, and siltation reduced perceptibly. But that's not all. Environmental protection helped villagers beyond their expectations, with the grass yield increasing to 2.5 tons per hectare. Besides, annual food production quadrupled, given sustained irrigation that made 3 crops a year possible. And to top it all, fodder from agricultural land rose from 70 tons to over 300 tons.
पहला तो ये डंगर खा जाते थे घास ना बब्बड़ मिला नहीं मानो ना कख मिला डंगर चारा चुग जाते थे हुण जाते सैट ही बनी डंगर बंद है बकरी बंद है फिर उग गया अपना जंगल जंगल रुकने ते फिर कख भी हो रहा हुण बब्बड़ भी हो रही खैर भी हो रहा हर दरख्त भी हो रहा बहुत फायदा हो रहा हुण तां जी मैनूं
To coordinate conservation efforts, a hill resource management society was set up, enabling villagers to get a share of the bubber and fodder grass from the forests. Villagers then sell the bubber grass to contractors. Increased fodder availability has also made it possible for them to acquire more expensive buffaloes. The income from just the annual sale of bubber grass and milk has gone up to between 10 to 15,000 per household. And Sukhomajri is one of the few villages that pays income tax from natural regeneration.
अब हम छोटे छोटे थे ना जी उस टाइम में हमारे कच्चे मकान थे जूनिया जगह कच्चे मकान थे उसके बाद फिर कुछ थोड़ी थोड़ी लोग जो गुंजाइश होती रही तरक्की करता गया जो हमारे कोई गरीब आदमियों पर नहीं हुई जब से फिर डैम डूम लगे फिर हमारा पैसा जो मजदूरी करते हैं ना वो पैसा हमारा थोड़ा बचने लग गया और ज़मीन का भी पैदावारी कुछ थोड़ी बड़ी बढ़ गई तो उससे हमारे मकान भी पक्के बन गए सारा सरकार ठीक बन गया बहुत सूरत अच्छी होगी
जो कि अब जिथे तक हम पहुँचे हैं ये तो हम यानी बड़ी बुद्धि के साथ पहुँचते हैं कि ये जो आप कहते हैं कि कणक तुम्हारी होती है गठे लहसुन बरसीन ये तो टाइम पर आएंगे कभी ये जो मैसा हमने रखी हैं इससे हमको बड़ी तरक्की मिली है नया पैसा हमारे को रोज़ मिलता है
इब दूर नहीं जाना पैंदा इब नेड़े थे सर जहाँ पहला एडी दूर जाना लगा था अपना पशुओं का भी उरी सर जहाँ भरने का भी अपना ना नलके में पानी आया अपना कपड़ा का भी धो लिया वहाँ लेकर ये फायदा ही फायदा हो गया इन डैमा का
Today, the 400 acres of care forest nurtured by the villagers is worth several crore rupees. Apart from timber, extracts yield katha, used in medicine, pan and natural dyes. And enthused by material success, the villagers want a share of these resources, perhaps justifiably.
इसको हम चाहते हैं कि जैसे ये सरकार पहले ठेकेदार को देकर ना इस पेड़ को कटवा दिया करती थी इन पेड़ों को क्योंकि गांव वालों ने रक्षा की गांवों ने लगाए और ठेकेदार काट लेता है इसलिए हमें सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट से भी ये दरख्वास्त करी थी और स्टेट गवर्नमेंट से भी कि ये पेड़ों को ठेकेदार को ना देकर गांव वालों को जो हमारी संस्था बनी हुई है उसको दें
Our government has already approved a policy of sharing the trees also. Now we have sent the rules for sharing purposes. You see those rules will contain all the details. What will be the share in the trees, what will be the obligations of the people, what will be the responsibilities of the forest department. So once those rules are approved, we will start sharing the trees also.
Joint management between villagers and officials is becoming increasingly acceptable as an alternative to the present system. In fact, the success of Sukhomajri has prompted many surrounding villages to adapt the same ideas, but they have received only partial administrative support. Success in the future will depend on effective joint management and the ability of the government to move speedily to set up the necessary structures. Already there is criticism that Sukhomajri, having achieved international renown, remains a priority, solely because it is in the media glare, while nearby villages that aspire to the same status are hampered by bureaucratic bottlenecks. While it is a little unrealistic to expect the Sukhomajri model to be transposed identically to other areas, one can expect similar results by adapting to the particular village's environment and needs. And unless that happens, Sukhomajri will remain a solitary success story, universally acclaimed, lauded as an ideal, and yet alone in its splendor. For community participation in resource management does not come easily, and unless a flexible approach making conservation profitable at the village level is evolved, environmental protection will remain a distant dream, with no anchor in rural reality.
Still to come, the conservation of birds in Madras, the applications of Neem, and a new dimension to environmental education in America. An industrial estate is perhaps not an ideal place to preserve the natural habitat of birds. But as Amitabh Shukla found, Madras is not only the home of a successful experiment, but also a possible pioneer in wetland conservation.
In the unlikeliest of places, in the Simpson Industrial Estate in Madras, conservation efforts have created a spectacular bird sanctuary. And what would astonish any bird lover is that despite the immediate presence of 8 factories, over 10,000 birds of a variety of species roost and breed here. This is not only a tribute to the far-sightedness of the company authorities, but also an indication of what simple measures can achieve in an urban setting. The story of the sanctuary is as old as the estate itself. In fact, when the area was being developed, company officials came upon hundreds of birds around what had been a water tank. Rather than disrupting it, the factories were built around it.
So wetland birds have been colonizing this estate for the past 35 to 40 years. We have recorded nearly 98 to 100 species of birds, of which wetland birds alone about 30-35 species are there.
Today, not only has the tank been enlarged, but a large number of trees have also been planted, creating a haven for birds as diverse as the beautiful egrets, the sleek cormorants, and the grey heron. The ground is carpeted with bird droppings, and one can see the occasional distraught chick that has fallen out of its nest. Although the birds are used to the sounds of the factory, the management has made a conscious effort to keep activity to the minimum in the area where the birds roost.
We leave the trees where the birds do most of the nesting untouched. We don't gather tamarind fruits or any other vegetation products from that. That is part of the encouragement for the birds to come and nest.
But the efforts of the management go beyond mere conservation. Lush green lawns with a wide variety of trees are a testimony to this. Even the bio-waste within the estate finds its way back into the lawns as organic manure.
Whatever we are getting, nearly 3 to 4 tons of waste material, that is dry leaves, this dust and everything. So altogether 3 to 4 tons daily we are getting. That all waste we are dumping in one place and making leaf mold for our landscape design purpose, that is for gardening. We are having plenty of lawns, ornamental gardening, and as well we are doing some landscaping also. For that purpose, we are not purchasing any type of inorganic material. Even farm-made manure also we are not purchasing.
It's not just the birds that find the estate an attractive proposition. Even the employees find the sanctuary a peaceful and restive place during the lunch break and when off duty. Although we never came upon any employees because they were at work when we filmed, they are appreciative of the conservation and supportive of it in their own way.
We are getting very good cooperation from each and everybody. and people are not disturbing to us also, like they are not touching the plant, they are not plucking the flowers, they are not disturbing the birds, and 100% I'm sure in future also they won't disturb anything about this related to environment.
Perhaps the most impressive spectacle at the sanctuary is the return of the birds from their feeding grounds in the evening. The birds' calls reach a crescendo at this time, even drowning out the sound of the factories, reasserting in a sense the supremacy of nature. And yet, when you think about it, all it took was a little foresight on the part of the company. The birds did the rest.
We don't have to do much of protective measures only. Just leave the birds undisturbed without physical invasion of human beings. They get accustomed to the protection and breed. And we don't require any specialized effort to see that they are protected.
The success of Simpsons, one might think, would inspire conservation efforts in other areas too. And it has, though on a more limited scale. The Madhavaram Jheel is located close to the Simpson estate. A freshwater lake, it supports a wide variety of flora and fauna. Large number of birds visit the Jheel throughout the year, including the pheasant-tailed jasana. But recently, developmental pressures have been threatening the very existence of the Jheel. The Tamil Nadu Veterinary Department intends to utilize the Madhavaram Jheel for aquaculture. Environmentalists believe that this will endanger the birds.
Aquaculture can coexist with wetland birds because the natural phenomena, we are not introducing anything which is not natural. Fish is a normal inhabitant of the water system.
That's fine, but the problem is fishing activity is going to cause a lot of disturbance to the birds. And if the fishing season, the harvesting season coincides with the breeding season, then you're going to have chaos. It's going to be a calamity because the birds won't nest there.
On the other hand, the problem with the Adyar estuary is one of rapid urbanization that has brought buildings and slums to the banks of the estuary. An increased population has led to overfishing and hunting of birds, but the biggest problem is that of pollution.
The river winds its way through Madras town and picks up all kinds of garbage and pollution on its way. All that comes here and is accumulated here because this place is not always open to the sea.
But the efforts of the environmentalists have not gone in vain. The veterinary department has been forced to alter its plans to prevent disturbance of the birds at Madhavaram. Added to this, the Adyar estuary has been declared a protected area, thus curbing poaching and encroachment. On the anvil is a proposal to convert it into a nature park.
This place could be looked upon as unique in another way. It is a place where the city-weary citizens of Madras could give vent to their feelings. They could go out there and get away from their daily humdrum lives of Madras city. Watching birds in a quiet, serene place like this, with the sea in the backdrop, I think is one way of feeling very serene.
The belated yet redeeming reaction to environmental concerns will not only go a long way in safeguarding plant and bird life, but also set a remarkable example for other cities to follow. For if the fourth largest city in India can preserve within its environs the natural habitat that has sustained hundreds of birds and large varieties of plants, the other cities will be hard-pressed to follow, thus writing a new chapter in urban conservation in India.
Still to come, the applications of Neem and a new dimension to environmental education in America. Over a decade after the HIV virus was discovered, Neem is being spoken of as a possible cure for AIDS. Although Neem pervades every facet of Indian life, from religion and ceremony to agriculture, medicine and housekeeping, it has only just got the attention of the West. Gauri Maini reports.
You probably recognize it as it grows in your backyard tree, or see it as datun, as storage material and as Ayurvedic medicine. What you probably do not know is that neem is also a contraceptive, a nitrogen regulator, a pesticide and a possible remedy for AIDS. Although it has been around for centuries, scientists are only now beginning to unravel its vast potential. At the National Institute of Immunology in New Delhi, research is being conducted into the use of neem as a contraceptive.
Praneem is a purified extract of neem seeds. It has many ingredients. One sort of compounds have potent spermicidal action. And this property we have exploited in generating a product which is suitable for vaginal use as a spermicide. On one side, it can kill the sperms and therefore prevent against pregnancy. And this has been tested in experimental animals already, in rabbits, in monkeys, in baboons, and also on human sperm in vitro. Then the ingredients so formulated act also against a variety of genital infections.
While research is being carried out to control the population, work is also being done to assess the scope of neem in controlling the killer disease, AIDS.
Praneem can inhibit the activity of an important regulatory area necessary for the replication or multiplication of the AIDS virus. The results are very exciting, but they are very preliminary at this stage.
Research activity is continuing in the USA as we anticipate a remedy for this disease that has wiped out millions. Besides its application in medicine, neem has shown its efficacy in agriculture as well.
Traditionally, we have been using it as a source of medicine. Now we have found that the tree can be very effectively used for management of insect pests.
To verify this statement, we conducted a simple experiment. 2 sample plants were taken, of which one was sprayed with a solution of neem. Locusts were put on both the plants to feed. To our astonishment, and most certainly to theirs, the plant with the neem solution remained unattainable to them.
Neem repels insects, it deters feeding and also retards growth and development. It can cause sterility. No plant or chemical is known which has such a diverse effect on insects.
Not only is neem unappetizing to the insects, but it also promises to be a pesticide that could well be developed in our own kitchens.
Take a handful of kernel, make a fine powder, tie in a piece of cloth and put it in a bucket of water, leave it overnight. In the morning you squeeze it and the water is ready for spray.
Elementary, you might say, but this could well be the answer to our fast depleting resource of synthetic pesticide. Besides, in a world where 2 million people die every year by ingesting synthetic pesticide, it could be an ideal alternative.
Environmental education in the southern United States has reached a new dimension under a 10-story high pyramid where an entire rainforest has been recreated with thousands of varieties of fish and birds. Here's a report.
In the southern US, environmental education is reaching new peaks under this 10-story glass pyramid. One of the world's largest indoor rainforests is just opened in the state of Texas, called Moody Gardens. 40,000 plant species along with plenty of fish, birds and butterflies can be found here. Says Ross Moody, a trustee with the Moody Foundation.
The environment is so critical to Texas, it's so critical to the world. If we bring people in here and they see what we're doing with Moody Gardens, they're going to go to wherever they're from and they're going to try to start up local environmental efforts and national environmental efforts.
4 years in the making, the rainforest offers visitors of all ages a unique combination of education and wonderment.
Well, I didn't really know about the rainforest, but I've learned a lot about it today here at the Moody Gardens.
The facility also boasts of a brand new 3-dimensional theater, a tropical beach, a yellow submarine, and an animal farm, all of which fund the garden's Hope Therapy program, which rehabilitates mentally and physically handicapped people.